It's been delayed by the pandemic, but finally, it's here. Ever since the new Mirage made its debut last 2019, local Mitsubishi fanboys have been wondering, when will this facelifted Mirage make it to our shores? Well, the long wait is finally over because we have here the 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, and in this video, we get to review it and drive it. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another car review. If you're new to my channel, I hope you click that subscribe button for your regular dose of Philippine automotive content. If you're my subscriber already, well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Oh yeah, and click that like button. Also special thanks to Mitsubishi BGC and the AutoHub Group for providing the 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage G4 to do this review. If you are in the area and you have a need for any Mitsubishi or a Ford or even a Rolls-Royce, head on down here to the AutoHub dealership and check them out. For any inquiries, you may also contact the person in my pinned comment below. The refreshed Mirage G4 has been a long time coming, and oh boy, it sure is worth the wait. You see, this thing is just fresh out of the oven, such that I just got the retail price of the Mirage G4 just now while I'm filming this thing. Now, the retail price of this top-spec Mirage G4 GLS with CVT is 899,000 Philippine pesos. Now, I know that's 30,000 pesos more expensive than the outgoing GLS, but based on the updates and the upgrades that you're getting in this thing, that additional 30 grand is well worth it. The front fascia of the Mirage G4 gets the most significant change from the previous model. We have the same dynamic shield front fascia here that can be found in its other siblings in the Mitsubishi stable. The Mirage even gets this front skirts here plus this faux carbon fiber trim for that added sporty look. However, we don't get the LED headlights that can be found in the global model, but rather we still have to make do with halogen headlights here. But the local Mitsubishi Mirage G4 gets bold fog lights that can be found here at the sides of your front bumper. Now, overall guys, this front fascia has a more aggressive look to it, and it brings the Mirage back to its original fighting form. The side profile of the facelifted Mirage remains largely unchanged from the pre-facelifted model. However, we lose out on that front fender garnish that we first saw in the Mirage GLS. So it seems that all the variants of this facelifted Mirage now gets turn signals on its side mirrors. Now, that's actually a good thing. Now, this Mirage gets the same 15-inch alloy wheels, and these wheels are wrapped in 185/55 R15 tires. Behind those wheels, we get ventilated disc brakes up front, drum brakes at the back, and for your suspension, we have a MacPherson setup in the front and a rear torsion beam at the back. Now, since the mechanicals of this thing is pretty much the same as the previous model, well, the ground clearance is also the same at 170 millimeters. Now, that is pretty decent for a city car. The rear end of the Mirage G4 also gets a few updates. We still get the same taillight assembly here, and we have the same bulb taillight. We don't get the fancy LED taillights that the other markets get. However, the rear bumper has been given that sporty treatment because we get this rear skirt here, plus a pair of reflectors that are found at the sides of your rear bumper. Now, this is a more aggressive and sporty look. Now, the good thing about the Mirage G4 is that the trunk can easily be opened by pressing your key fob twice, as you can see, and once you pop it open, you'll see that the trunk space of the Mirage G4 is still the same cavernous cargo capacity of 450 liters. Now, you could put a lot of stuff here, but unfortunately, the back seats still doesn't fold down. So if you're transporting larger items in your Mirage G4, well, you gotta get creative to get your stuff inside this car. The engine of the previous Mirage gets carried over into this facelifted model. As such, we get the same and dependable 1.2-liter 3-cylinder naturally aspirated Myvic engine that can put out 77 horses and 100 Newton meters of torque. Now, the transmission options are still the same. You could either spec it in a CVT or a 5-speed manual transmission. Now, since this is the same motor as the outgoing model, we get the same stellar fuel economy figures. At the quoted combined fuel economy of 21 kilometers per liter, well, this new Mirage G4 will get the same fuel economy as the other budget city cars in its segment. Well, aside from a few upgrades here and there, the cabin of this facelifted Mirage G4 remains the same as the 2020 Mirage GLS that I featured last year. We get the same engine push-start button here that was found in that Mirage GLS. The seats are also carried over. We still get the same fabric seats here in that nice, comfortable material that the Mirage is known for. The steering wheel is also carried over. We get the same leather-wrapped steering wheel here and the same glossy piano black finish that's found at the bottom half of your steering wheel. Now, we also have hands-free buttons here for connectivity. We also saw that in the GLS last year. And this wheel also adjusts for tilt, but it doesn't telescope, guys. So yeah, that's pretty expected in a budget city car. Now, when you look at the instrument gauge cluster, the gauge cluster has received a white treatment, making it a bit brighter than before, but it's still in the same analog layout that we first saw in the Mirage GLS. This is an analog speedometer and an analog tach, and we have the same blank area on the right side of your instrument gauge cluster. Again, this facelifted Mirage G4 doesn't have an engine temperature gauge. So yeah, if you're about to overheat, yeah, this thing would just give you a warning and an alarm, and yeah, you're already overheating. Now, we move on to the infotainment system, and this is the first and only major upgrade that you get in this facelifted Mirage G4. I think this is a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system. I don't have the exact figures yet for the size of the screen, but it looks like it's a 7-inch touchscreen. But the good thing here, guys, the good news, we have Apple CarPlay already, we have Android Auto, and we also have the reverse camera that we also saw in the Mirage GLS last year. Now, the image quality of that reverse camera, it's also pretty good. It's very usable, quite bright, and yeah, so it's good that we all have all of those tech features in this new updated infotainment system. Now, when you go down to your climate control system here, we have a fully automatic climate control system there, pretty similar to the Mirage last year. And we also have a couple of cup holders here, which I already subjected to my Clean Canteen test. But as a refresher, guys, you see that it marginally passes. It kind of fits, almost fits. Well, it doesn't really fit as well as you'd want because of the size and the length of my Clean Canteen. Yeah, so because it's too big and it's too long, it really couldn't fit. Yeah, that's what my ex-girlfriend told me. Anyway, we have the same shifter here that also has that B option, which is that brake option for the Mirage, which means that you put it there if you want to keep a low engine speed when you're climbing up inclines or going down the same inclines. We also have a manual handbrake here, but I was quite surprised and a little bit disappointed to see that even in this facelifted Mirage G4, we still don't get a center armrest here. I mean, I would have expected that to come as standard already in the Mirage, but yeah, tough luck, that's not here. Anyway, when you look at the entire cabin of this thing, it is a budget city car, and as such, you're surrounded by plastics. You know, the door cards are plastic, the dashboard, they're all plastic. So it's the same material that we found in the Mirage GLS last year. However, the fit and finish of this thing is fantastic, which is what you'd expect from a vehicle that is proudly manufactured right here in the Philippines. The back seat of the new Mirage G4 is identical to the outgoing model, hence we get the same amount of space here at the back. I'm 5'6", guys, and this is my driving position, and I get the same around 6-7 inches of knee room here, plus around 4 inches of headroom. Now, that's pretty decent considering that this is a tiny city car. If you put two average Asian adults here, well, they could sit comfortably at the back, but if you try to squeeze in a third person in the middle, well, things will get naturally tight. Now, because this is a budget city car, guys, you'd expect to get zero amenities here at the back, and you would be correct. Alright guys, so we're now driving the facelifted Mitsubishi Mirage G4, and this is the first time that I'm driving a Mirage, and I am quite surprised, guys, because this is a very easy car to drive. You see, you've got a good amount of visibility up front and on the sides, and yeah, I love the fact that the sitting position is also mounted quite high, and the belt line of this thing is also quite low. So that means that all around visibility on the front, on the sides, it's really good, making this Mirage such an easy car to drive. Steering feel is also quite surprising. You see, I'd expect this thing to have a super ultra light steering feel, but that's not the case here. It's not too light, it's not too heavy. In fact, it's the Goldilocks of steering feels. I mean, yeah, we have a good amount of feedback as well, and surprisingly, the steering response is also quite sharp. Turn-in is also quick, which is something that you'd expect from something like a sports car or a hot hatch. Yeah, but this Mitsubishi Mirage, yeah, it feels like the steering feels like it's the steering feel of a hot hatch. Now, when it comes to the turning radius of the Mirage, as you can see, it's so easy to turn it around and make a U-turn because of its small footprint. Now, another thing that makes this Mirage so popular locally is the comfort inside the cabin. You see, for a budget city car, the comfort here is pretty good. In fact, it punches way above its weight. Despite having a 3-cylinder engine, the engine noise and vibration cannot be felt here inside. Now, I couldn't say the same for its competitors, but this Mitsubishi Mirage G4 has a very refined cabin. I'm quite surprised with that. Now, when it comes to the air conditioning, this thing also has a very cold climate control system. Now, that is also an added blessing since we live in a tropical country. Handling-wise, as you can see, we're taking this curvy road at a slightly faster clip. It is quite composed. It takes the curves pretty well, guys. So yeah, for a daily commuter, for a budget daily commuter, this thing, it's the real deal. Alright guys, let's try the acceleration of this thing. Okay. Well, as what you'd expect from a budget city car with a tiny 3-cylinder motor, well, the acceleration is nothing to write home about. However, I love the fact that despite having just a CVT, well, the Mirage G4's transmission tuning means that we get more torque and power from down low, which helps it when it goes around town or when you're just doing your daily errands. So yeah, despite having a tiny motor, the transmission is able to maximize that, which is why I'm starting to see why this thing is a favorite amongst local buyers. The properly tuned CVT transmission of this thing already tells me that it would have an easy time going up to triple-digit speeds. So if ever I get a chance to take it up to the highway, I wouldn't have to squeeze that gas pedal too much to take it up to the speed limit. So that is also a thumbs up for me. You know, I really love how composed and how quiet it is in this cabin. You see, I've already managed my expectations, and I kind of expected that we'll have some vibrations inside the cabin of the Mirage G4 because this is a 3-cylinder motor, but we have none of that here. Wow! Kudos to Mitsubishi for properly tuning the NVH of this vehicle. Fantastic! Overall, guys, after driving the Mirage G4, I can now tell why a lot of local buyers love this car. You see, despite being smaller than, let's say, the Honda City or the Toyota Vios, it still gives you quite an engaging drive and a very comfortable cabin inside. Now, the fact that we've got the updated features of the infotainment system plus that gorgeous front fascia, well, this Mirage is now a force to reckon with. The updates on the new Mirage G4 may only be a few, but it's enough to keep this feisty city car in serious contention. The new front fascia here now ties it closer to the rest of Mitsubishi's lineup, plus that updated infotainment system inside, well, helps it keep pace with the rest of its competition. So, what do you guys think? Do you think the updates on this new Mirage G4 is enough to keep the Mirage on top? Well, let me know in the comments below. Anyway guys, thanks for watching.